Yeah. All right.
Hey guys, we're back for part two. So we had a little bit technical faults. I mean, Tom's fault. And we're back for part two. And we carry on with our interview with Eddie Abbew, IFBB Eddie Abbew. IFBB Pro Eddie Abbew. We got so the questions we got next. I've got on here. It's how's Corona affecting? Is it affecting you in your business? Because I know you're in the gym.
Do you know what? It's crazy. It's just insane. I mean, we're all going to suffer. I mean, I know a few gyms that have already been closed. They've shut. So I mean, we don't know how. We're surviving at the moment so far. It's about negotiating the rent with your landlords and making sure that it's a small gym. When I say it's a small gym, it's a community gym. It's not a lifestyle gym. So we're lucky that almost all our members are still paying their direct debit. What we miss are the ones who pay monthly, like card or cash to come in. We're missing those ones. Plus, the PTs as well. So it's just one thing that we got to learn to deal with. I'm just hoping that everybody survives. It's a shame that it came to that, but I completely understand why we're in this predicament. I really do.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because you're a registered nurse, so more than anyone else. It's good to hear your opinion.
The people that I used to work with, and the stuff that they tell me, there's a lady who is a friend of mine, and she says, "This is on the ward. She's in charge of a ward." And I spoke to her once, and she's crying. It's just me, Eddie. One day, we will be able to tell our stories, our own experiences. And I get so offended for them when the people are saying it's fake and it's fake. It's a fake. That you're misreport. She says, in fact, if anything, the media is underreporting what's actually happening on the ground. You go to these wards and some of these nurses are petrified. A lot of them are going to need psychiatric help and therapy after this thing. Because so I was nursing, and I think I saw in my whole lifetime as I don't know how many. I saw less than 10 dead bodies. Imagine seeing a dead body, 10 of them every single day. How do you deal with that psychologically? And a lot of them are affected, but they still got to carry on and go to work, and they've got families to look after. And people are not thinking about that side of things, And to me, that's my concern. I worry for them, I could have been one of them.
Yeah, I have a close experience, and I've lost two very close friends in the last couple of months. And I've lost my close friend last week. And
wow, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, I lost one close friend, very close friend. We went to his house. I'll say about half hour before they removed the body. We came back. Me and my friend came back infected. I recovered. He never did. He just passed away last week. So
that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your symptoms? I mean, how did you suffer any kind of?
I think I was one of the good ones because I think my immune system it's pretty good. So I felt rough for I felt rough for about 4 days, and then I fully recovered after that. In compared to my close friend, then he was on the ventilator for 3.5 weeks, and he didn't pull through.
Wow.
And I think
it's so sad, isn't it?
It's sad because it makes me think that I just came off screen. What happened here? Can you guys see me?
Yeah,
we can see you.
Right. It's so sad because I've realized that it's all down to your immune system. That's it.
Yes.
That's the only thing that's the only experience I took. I took off this experience of being infected with COVID because apparently I was infected with the new strain. It's all down to your immune system. It's all down to your immune system. And,
this is what my argument is, right? So we know all this about wash your hands, the phase, space, and all that we hear from the government. They could have just thrown that in, eat properly. And the thing is, because certain foods have been accepted in society, and we've accepted it. Oh yeah, it's all right. It's all right to eat lots of cake, but we know what cake does to you. It doesn't matter. Cake has no business being in our society. You know what I mean? I grew up as a child back in Africa. I never ate cake until I left Ghana, and it didn't do me any harm. So we've accepted some of these foods into our society, and we are like, it's normal. I mean, I get people come to me and they say, "Oh no, can you write me a diet? I have to eat this. I have to drink alcohol." I'm like, I can't do that. I believe in natural foods, and I think to get your immune system strong, eating proper food is important.
So what's your take on the government keeping the gyms shut when it's been scientifically proved that infection rates from the gyms it's very small compared to other places? So what's your take on that, Eddie?
It's a very, very difficult question for me to answer, because I truly understand why the government is keeping gyms shut. Because you may say that, but have you been to some of those lifestyle gyms?
Yeah, makes sense.
Gym,
They're the ones that make it bad for everybody. So even though it may look like, if we're told we can't go to restaurants, we understand that we can't go to restaurants, they're closed. Why would you have people congregating, not even training, sitting in the machine on their phones? You got like there's a pure gym down the road from me. They had 135 people in the gym at once. Now,
Wow.
I mean, how does that work? And it's indoors, so they are blanketing it out. They can't come around and say you can open. Whereas in my gym, I make sure we social distancing. There's hand sanitizers everywhere. We've got a spray for everybody. You clean the equipment before and after. We can do this, but then the big gyms, personally, I think they make it bad for us because they don't care. They don't care. I mean, someone are not even manned.
Right. Yeah. It's all really bad. I saw your video when you introduced when the gyms reopened. I think you did a little video about the COVID-19 restrictions and health and safety. I think you were probably the very first person I saw doing that, and I think it was very, very informative, and I think it was very, very good. Because I didn't see anyone doing that. I mean,
it was about barrier nursing, and I was a nurse a little bit. I'm a nursing as well, and how it is. You have to sort of keep things clean. We've had to, I remember having to learn how to wash a trolley from top to bottom, without contaminating everything with surgery. That stuff that you have to learn. So in a way, it's practically what we're doing. What I was trying to say was, closing gyms is affecting a lot of our mental health. I mean, I know that, right? That's one of the videos. I don't know if that's the video you're talking about, but I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, because I did two videos.
Yeah. You made one when the gyms reopened in the very first lockdown. Yeah. You showed the inside out of your gym, how to prevent. I think you were the very first person I saw doing that, and I think it was because you was literally just showed. You were just very transparent about everything.
Absolutely, because it's a virus that we have to live with. We know exactly how it's affecting people. So the information that we had at the time, that's what we needed to do, and that's what I was trying to promote, so that people feel safe coming back. Because I mean, there are some people who are still scared. I've had members who've not been back to the gym since the first lockdown.
Wow.
They're afraid, because they're shielding or they got underlying medical conditions, and it's I understand that, but so I was trying to make them feel safe. And one of them, I mean, a few of them will watch the video and they're like, you know what, I feel safe coming back because I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. I was very informative. It was perfect, and to be honest with you, I didn't see many people doing it. I saw a lot of pictures. Pictures can be very deceiving, but you're the first person. You're the first person to actually show completely transparent everything out there for people to see, and I think it was brilliant.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna pass on to Tom because I know Tom is dying to ask you questions. I know he is. I know.
You made me sound like such a child.
Yeah, he is a big child. I'm telling you right now. I know he's dying. I know he was looking forward to. He was looking forward to this moment. I know he's dying right now.
Oh,
So
hey,
Tom,
he's an
yeah.
inspirational guy. You know.
It is. You know.
Thank you.
You know. I was fortunate enough to watch him on stage. I was fortunate enough to follow him. He knew I was following him.
Unfortunately, I was in primary school back then, so
Yeah. I was fortunate enough
That's funny. I know.
to meet him. Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to buy the magazines. He was on it. I was fortunate enough to read about. I knew about the food blending because it came in the magazine. I read about it, and I thought,
you little show off.
you know what I mean? I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a real
Where's your
bodybuilder.
T-shirt, Rob? Where's your Eddie Abbew T-shirt?
Yeah,
I worked with Milos, and the first time I went down to Milos, and I'm in the gym because we stayed in a hotel opposite his gym. All we're being prepped by Milos, and we used to stay in that hotel opposite. And I used to go to the gym, his gym, and use the blender, and I put everything in there. He used to look at me and he watch me drinking, and he'd be like, "What's wrong with you? What do you mean what's wrong with you?" Nobody could understand why I was blending the food. But then, because I'm not a big eater, I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I was very skinny. If I didn't follow, I put my diet out, what I eat daily. I put it out yesterday or day before yesterday. That's what I eat. Now, if I didn't eat like that, I'd lose weight straight away, and I don't want to do that. So I've got to be regimented with what I eat. You know, we're all different. Every single one of us is different. You know,
yeah.
I found out the food that works for me, and I'll continue eating that way. I'm not trying to force that onto somebody else. But then someone might read the post and think, you know what, hang on, you know, why can I try it? It makes you feel better. You know what? We were talking about immune system earlier on. Eating proper food, it's important for your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can I just ask, working with Milos, because I've heard loads and loads and loads of stories. What did he try the crazy insulin protocols with you, or was it just a lot more tame?
So I have to be honest and say that when I don't know what Milos does with insulin right now, but what we did back then, insulin was only taken straight after training. You see, you said something about Rob. You said something about Eddie. I saw Eddie, and it was massive. He put a lot. I got to 320 pounds plus because of insulin, not because of steroids, because I couldn't take too much of it because it used to give me panic attacks. Now, what I did with Milos was straight after training, you had a shot of insulin. So the idea was that insulin is a storing agent, and then straight after, there's a protocol of what to do. So you're following that, and the insulin is always one fast-acting, it was Humalog. So the protocol was following. What happened was afterwards, following a protocol that followed the half-life of the insulin that you were taking. So the half-life was 4 hours. So you, straight after taking the injection, you wait about a few minutes, and then you have a drink which contains a certain amount of simple carbs and glutamine, creatine, whey, casein, and then straight after, then you try to follow the half-life, and we did. So you were slave to the insulin for 4 hours. When from the time you inject it to the time it's out of the system, the whole half-life cycle of the Humalog is 4 hours. So that's what we did. I don't know what he does now.
So that was it. You just did one post-workout. That was it.
Absolutely, that was it. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, can I tell one thing? One thing I've noticed, because I'm a very observant person. When I saw Eddie, because I saw him coming, walking towards me, I know exactly, even in today's day, what he was wearing. He was wearing a dark blue tie top. He was very conditioned. You could tell he was off season. He was very conditioned still, and I could see his abs still through the top. You know what I mean? So what I know, when all these guys goes on insulin, they blow up like balloons. We don't see any sort of separation or condition, anything like it. If Eddie Abbew was on insulin back then, he still had abs on. He still had the abs on, and he was 320 pounds.
Well, I think that's a lot to do with genetics that we were talking about earlier. You know, if you're, I couldn't put on weight. My genetics couldn't let me put on a certain amount of weight. So even that was a struggle. So I held on to everything. I couldn't get to the weight I wanted to get to until I did insulin. When Milos pointed me in the right direction, it was just post-workout. I started off with 6 IUs post-workout, and then worked my way to about 15, sometimes 20 IUs post-workout. But then you have to follow a protocol. You know, I mean, I didn't think that was much because as you say, as you know, I'm a nurse, and you know the amount that
diabetics use a
a
lot
diabetic
more.
would have to use, a lot more. So to me, that was safe. The only problem is that you had to be a slave to that insulin for that length of time. So I'll give you an example. One day I'd taken the insulin, and I was driving home from the gym, so I had my drinks following the half-life of the whatever. Then somebody called me and says, my car is broken down. So I went and helped him push the car.
Oh.
And you know what I mean? And then the hypo sets in, the shaking comes in, and then you think, shit. So at any given time, I had, you know, those glucose tablets, and a pot of honey in my glove compartment. So I just literally I said to him quietly, because I knew it was coming on. I'm like, get in my fucking car and get me this. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I don't want to speak, because you can see how quickly it was coming on to me. Like, I tell you what, I don't know if anybody, and it's crazy, but back in the day when you were younger, you do like things like ecstasy, you know. I felt so good. It felt like I was on ecstasy. I was coming up, I was getting this euphoric. And then I thought, no, this is not good. This is not good. So I told him, I said, I'm not going to react anymore. Can you just get the fuck into my car and get the honey? So I'm pouring the honey, and I'm pouring the honey down my throat, and then I had to sit down and think. Then after a few seconds, it starts working, a few minutes. But then it's scary stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. That's the things you do. That's impressive.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got to say though, for someone so massive, it's impressive that, I mean, all the younger guys that are following Jordan Peters and all this stuff, progressive overloading their drugs and everything. I mean, they wouldn't even believe like your cycle is like a warm-up cycle for them.
Yeah.
No, I don't like talking about anything about anybody in this industry, and I don't want to mention names, but I think certain people are really bad for the bodybuilding industry and the fitness industry in this country, and it just saddens me that somebody who's younger than my children is giving such dangerous advice out there, and people are so gullible, desperate, addicted, and listening to those advice. And it's like I see people and I'm thinking, dude, you don't look like, I got more muscle in my foreskin than you got in your whole body. How come you got gyno? I don't get it. And there's a boy said to me, a boy sits in my chair. I prepped him and he came to me, and I know what I know, and I don't budge because I've created so many champions, and there's no disputing that, right? So he's sitting in front of me, and I'm looking at him. I said to him, "Listen, man, you're 24 years old. If you carry on, you're gonna just shut your system down, blah blah blah." Because he hasn't come off, and he said to me, "Oh no, I know I'm gonna need TRT by the time I'm 30." And I'm like, you know what? I want you to stand up and get out of here because I can't get through to you. Something is happening to you, and I can't get. You need psychiatric help, and I'm going to have to tell him that. And that's what I backed up from prepping too many people, because it's dangerous. It's just a minefield out there, and somebody's gonna die. You know, it's already happening, isn't it?
Mm.
So what, Eddie? So like, I've got a question for you. Like, we all know the industry. how is it going right now with the amount of prep coaches and everyone is a coach after competing in a couple of shows and stuff like that. And you have people like you that have been around for as long as everyone else has been living on the planet Earth and got all the knowledge and everything. Nothing to prove, nothing to show. You've been there, you've done that, and you see all these new coaches. There's way too many of them. We all know that too. What's your opinion on that? Do you think the industry is going the right direction, or you think there's something that we should we can't do anything about it really? But what's your opinion? Do you think the industry is going the right direction?
Yeah, but this is what you're saying. You just said we cannot do anything about it, and I'm saying we can. This industry needs to be regulated. Yeah. Absolutely, because as soon as one person dies, and in this country, we saw Luke Sando die recently. It's very, very sad. You know what? I saw a picture, and it's the children. That just made me cry because I know I was in that state mentally. I was there. You're so focused, and you think you're gonna. But people just then they move on. We shouldn't move on. We should just say, right, hang on. How do we prevent this from happening? And that could mean not just a backhand sort of qualification to get people to be prep coaches. Let's just find out exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're making these people take. But then I think the problem we've got here is this, right? This is almost a couch sport, If you look at people who take cocaine and drugs like that, nobody really cares about them because it's their choice to take all these dangerous drugs. So they're left. Do you understand? What you see? So yes. Just like no one really cares, and that's what's happened to bodybuilding. No one really cares about us. As long as the promoters can make money. Some of those promoters I know personally. I've been in this industry nearly 40 years, and I know them. They don't even like bodybuilding. They think we are idiots, and they've said it themselves. Oh God, these idiots will take any drug, and then, but as long as we're producing this stuff, there's supply and demand, isn't it? Supply and demand. People want to see freaks, so people are going to do. So there should be a body. All I'm asking for is, why can't they be? We just say there's a body where we can regulate some of these coaches. You look at somebody and think, hang on, that person looks dangerous. And then the whatever body calls this person, an independent body made up of people who are forward thinking, people who are not on steroids, people who are not involved in the bodybuilding, and say, right, why are you doing this to your body? What's going on in your head? Because a lot of the time when I was prepping people were sitting in front of me, and then it got to a point where I needed counseling, and I'm saying that openly. I needed counseling because there's so many things going on in my head, and I'd never come off everything completely. And then I came off everything completely, like about 2016. It's like something had been switched on in my head, and I'm thinking, this person is suffering mental health issues. Why are you advising them to take this drug? And do you know what I mean? So we can regulate this. You can find a way of regulating it. If somebody's not happy about something, just go to the body and say, write to the body, email them and say, look, this happened, that happened, and then we look into it. Does that make sense? I know.
It makes a lot of sense. I'd never thought about like there was a solution to regulate, like you just mentioned, this newbie prep coach coming out of the hoods and advise people in the wrong way, and it's more and more and more and more. For example, I had a client the other day that she come up to me, and I was like, she contacted me. She just giving my example, and she purchased from my service was a 16-week no competitor program, which I'm gonna follow for the next 4 months. But before she got to me, she inquired with some other coaches that I never heard of it, and the amount of money they were charging, it was absolutely ridiculous. Well, she mentioned a couple names, which I'm not going to mention. I was honest with this person. I said, I don't know these people. I don't know him from being on stage or competing, and I don't know where these people come up with these fees.
But it's unfortunately that's the world we live in. If you are articulate enough to convince 1 million people to give you £1 each, you're a millionaire. That's what it is. So we want to try and make money by doing as little as possible. And there are people, it's supply and demand. People on, especially social media, they look at images that have been distorted and whatever, and they look at it and they're like, oh, I want that person to prep me. So I've had people who've left me. I'll give you an example. People left me and they've gone to another coach, and you look at them and you think, well, bodybuilding is about getting on the stage. You go off season, you build the muscle, and then you prep, making sure you don't lose an ounce of that muscle, and then get on the stage. That's what bodybuilding was sold to me. Now, you see people who lose weight. Now, if there's a difference in losing fat and holding onto muscle and losing weight, because losing weight just involves losing muscle as well. So you look at them on the stage. You look at them on the stage, and they look like Cambodian famine victims, and they look, they look like concentration camp victims. And you look at them and think, well, hang on, what you've lost? You look lean. Your ribs are sticking out. But where the hell is the muscle? Because these kids don't understand about.
That's the problem.
That's what it is.
But do you know the worst thing? These people you just mentioned, they will go on and start prepping other people.
Yes, yes, because that's all they know. I mean, I tried. You're telling me about when I qualified for the Ironman that year. I didn't want to compete qualify anywhere else apart from the States, because at the time the Americans didn't respect the European shows. Like, you only got there because none of us was there. So I wanted to do in one of the big shows. The Ironman was one of them. The Arnold Classic. They're now the champions, and the shows like that. So when I went there, I got on the stage, and then first call out, I was in it with Tony Freeman. So I was standing next to Tony Freeman, and Tony was doing the keto diet with Dave Palumbo at the time. So we shared a lot of information. What I'm saying is, I've had to prep about over 1,000, more than 1,000 people over the years. So you learn different people's physiques and different ways of prepping people. What I did to myself is not what I'll do to you, for instance, because you might have you respond differently. Do you get me? So, but then if you do just 1 or 2 shows and you read and read and read, people think that they know everything because they've read. And bodybuilding it's not a textbook sport. 1, because you're all different, and 2, there are drugs involved that affect people differently, and it's not a textbook sport. You can't use the prep that you've been shown to prep somebody else, because that's all. Because you understand, and that's the problem we've got.
Unfortunately, I don't think the issue is going the right way, and I'm glad you shared their opinion with me. And if you just give us an example of solution for that, which is a very viable solution. And what do you think about that, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I've been prepped, well, as you know, Rob, by some bigger names in the industry, and also some lesser names in the industry. And they had me doing stuff that I was, didn't feel comfortable with, and then Rob kind of saved me, and emphasized the diet aspect rather than starving myself silly and using stuff that I shouldn't. And it's game changer. Experience definitely beats the Insta fads any day.
I'm going to be honest with you, because I've been around about 16, 17 years now. So all I know is the guys like Eddie Abbew, like mentioned a few names, Vincent Alessandro, old school guys. Then they were here when I first got here. They helped me out. So when you start throwing all these new names on the table, I went I don't know him. I never heard about him. I never heard about him. I don't know him. And I did my research, and I've realized they're quite popular on social media. I don't know why they are popular on social media, but I've never heard about these guys, because I always know guys like Eddie, Vince, Luke Nichols, those guys that I was hanging around, because I started competing really young, when I was 21, 22, surfing. So I asked for these people help. There was no prep coaches back then. And all these names that you threw in the table, and I was prepped by this guy, I was prepped by this guy. I just said, well, okay, whatever they told you to do, it didn't work out. Let's scrap this off and let's start something that I've learned with these old school bodybuilders when I got to England, you know, and it seems to work, as you know, and it is working.
It's basic.
Basic, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is basic. I mean, my concern is this, right? Some of what I did as a bodybuilder, I will not be comfortable doing with someone else's, because, and a lot of these people online who are selling these programs, they are blagging, but you can't blag with someone's life, you know, because they're going to end up killing somebody. I've seen people who look at them and you think, dude, you need to eat because you're being starved. You need to eat. You need to just eat. And there's a guy, I remember once a lady came to me and she was literally just shaking. You could see a BMI was whatever. I said to her, there's a Burger King downstairs by the gym. I'm like, I want you to go down to Burger King and have a Burger King before I talk to you. Have a meal. And she's like, oh my God, I can't do it. Eventually, I'm not talking to you then. She went and she had it. She came back and it's like talking to a different person. Because you could tell. And this is what I had to deal with for years. And eventually I got to a point and I thought, listen, I don't want to play that game anymore. I don't want to risk people's lives because people are not listening. They will listen to you and do something else because they read it or they've seen on social media, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely, I agree with that. Right, guys. Tom, do you have anything to add to this interview?
I'm just going to fangirl here, and I want to know, what's your favorite bodybuilder that you've met, and have you got a story with them?
Or I got so many different stories.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, I mean, the funniest story I have about bodybuilding, I mean, it was my last show in Australia, right? And we got on the stage. So Kai Green was there. So I'm talking about the black guys now. Kai Green was there. We had Melvin Anthony was there.
Oh yeah.
And I think Dexter Jackson. I think Dexter Jackson was there. And anyway, there's about 4 black guys on the stage. Okay. So the promoter thought, wow, without asking us. So bearing in mind that Kai had been paid, he just won the Arnold Classic. He'd been paid to go and compete. On top of what he was going to win anyway. He was going to win, so it was an exhibition. So we were there. And then we got to the show, and in the interval, the promoter came in and literally, because we got to the airport and then there was no transport to pick us up because the van had been used to go and pick up Kai Green's girlfriend. So he was stuck at the airport. You see, how, because he's doing well, and so we sat at the airport waiting, and then eventually, during the interval of the show, they brought 5 wigs, Afro wigs, right? And the promoter brought in, he said, right, I want you 5 to do a Jackson 5. We're going to put ABC on. Without telling us, listen, this is out of the blue. Like, we're going to do ABC, and we're going to play the song ABC, and they're going to sing, easy as 1, 2, 3, and they use that. And then, and then we're like, what the fuck? And then Melvin Anthony, he's my favorite, and like, funny. He said to me, "You treat us like this." He says, "You know what? Give all the 5 wigs to Kai Green. It can be Tito, Michael, and Jermaine." And I was cracking up laughing, and then that was the funniest story. Melvin just made me laugh.
Wow.
That was a good one. Wonderful. Man.
That was brilliant.
That was brilliant. I love that. Oh man! All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
And, it's been a tremendous honor to have Abbew in our podcast. Found some very good content in this podcast. Probably the best one he ever did, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure, hands down.
Yeah, for sure, hands down. By the way, you got all my credits to me because I had the idea to invite Eddie. And
well, you're the seasoned guy, Rob. You're getting
up
there now.
There you go. There you go.
It's nice to talk to you guys, man. Nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're trying to spread the positive vibe and trying to keep this sport safe. That's my goal. I want to keep this safe. I don't want to see any more deaths. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a very, very important message. our next step is when everything's go back to normality, we pay a visit
Train at
to
Eddie's
Eddie.
gym. Yeah,
That's right.
Absolutely,
That's
yes.
right.
100%.
Yeah,
We'll
you
buy
bring
the
our
t-shirts,
cam.
Eddie. We're there.
Yeah, yeah. If
Maybe
we
we
bring
can train
our
together.
Yes.
If you don't mind,
you let Grandad show you how to do it.
That's yeah.
The thing is, Grandad's probably bigger and stronger than me still.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We bring our camp crew and we do some nice content in there in Eddie's gym.
Perfect.
And I'm looking forward to that. Right, let's wrap this up, guys. Here we are. And thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes.
Right, and thanks, Tom. And
yeah, see you
see you
next
guys
week.
soon.